Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. We are into the peak of the growing season. So this is when things start happening. And I've had a couple customers, more than a handful of folks coming in to saying, "Oh, Ken, help me out. My tomatoes, they just aren't producing fruit. They're up to size. They look big. They're good. What am I doing wrong?" And I don't think it's you. Well, here's what a lot of vegetables don't like. They don't like to be hot. They're just like people. They're just like us. When it gets to be 95 or greater, plants kind of go, "Ooh, I'm just sweating it out here. I think I'll just take a break here. Just going to hold on. I'm going to wait it out and I'm going to keep growing in the evening when it's cooler. But during the day, I'm just going to sit here and not do much. And I'm for sure not going to bloom and set fruit and try to take all my resources and try to put fruit on and produce these cucumbers or peppers or tomatoes or eggplant, squash, whatever it is." So they take a break. When the monsoon rains come, that all changes. So my guess is if your tomatoes, your vegetables have not done as well as you wanted, they haven't produced as many fruits as you want, I'm guessing that with the cloud cover, it produces shade. And so plants go, "Oh, finally." It's like having an umbrella over your head in the bright sun. Well, clouds do that for plants. And then the humidity shoots up and they absorb this moisture through their foliage and through their roots. They're going, "Oh, it's shaded and it's more humid. I just feel better about the whole thing." They'll start setting fruit for you just because it's not as hot. June is hot. If you can get plants just to live, just survive, you don't want them growing, just survive June. Then July comes, at least in the mountains of Arizona, and we get this monsoonal pattern. Even if it doesn't rain in your neighborhood, the clouds are there. You can see a rainbow or two, and plants like rainbows. It just means they're going to grow. It just means the humidity's up. They actually can't see, but they do like rainbows because it just means humidity's up and there's storms going around. It's a good thing. So I noticed that with my tomatillos, they were growing, but they weren't producing. Loaded with flowers, not a single fruit. I've had over an inch of rain in my yards already. And I looked underneath the foliage and there are just dozens and dozens, probably more than that. I was afraid to look how many. There's going to be too many tomatillos coming off two plants. I've got them in a container, a great big square oxblood red container. It was half art, half crop rotation, half, let's see if I can grow these. I just put this as a big plant. They're big. Tomatillos are big plants like tomatoes, and these are big pots. And so I'm now second guessing myself, going, maybe I should have only planted one, but I'm committed now. I've got two, and they're loaded. So I've got tomato cages on it. It's a big enough pot to have two tomato cages inside this pot and still look proportionate. It's beautiful. I mean, it is a piece of art. You look at it and go, "God, I am such a gardener. Oh my gosh." I'm sorry. Pat myself on the back, feel pretty good. I can't wait till I pick my first tomatillo. We're salsa gardeners. So we love pico de gallo. And so fresh, right out of the garden, peppers, onions, cilantro, just tomatillos. That mixture, my mouth just watered thinking about it. It's just it's the taste of summer at the Lain Casa. We just like it. Have a little margarita with you, just kind of like makes everything go down well. And so that's probably why your plants haven't uh, produced as many fruits on the plant as you wanted. I predict if you could just fertilize them. In fact, for the customers, my friends that come in and I've helped them out, I said, here's some flower power. It's a liquid fertilizer. It's 48% phosphorus. It's as high as I could go and still keep the phosphorus in liquid form, which means the plant could just absorb it like right now. So you can give it some flower power right now, and it's cooler. I guarantee within a week, you're going to start to see more flowers and more fruit setting on those plants, those two combos. And so I'm hitting mine right now with Flower Power, probably weekly, a little more than we say every other week. But you know what? I'm going to juice them. I'm going to keep them going. I've had some good rain in the backyard. I think the rain washes some of that stuff out. So I'm just kind of, until I see some fruit really forming. So my tomatoes are really coming on. The squash is really coming. Oh my gosh, the squash. I think you feed an army just with a zucchini plant. It's going like great. Peppers. I picked a peck of peppers this week. I don't know how much a peck is, but it's fun to say out loud over the airwaves. But still, picked a lot of peppers, serranos, jalapenos, and I've got a columnar sweet pepper, like a miniature bell pepper. Oh, just eat them right out of the garden. It's just so good. And so things are starting to happen. I would say also, for you folks that are flower growers, I'm a flower grower. I have some vegetables, but that's not my primary thing. You can tell, even my tomatillos, I used them as art. I'm thinking outside the box. It's that artistry thing. That's what flowers, the fragrance, the color, the textures, the heights. There's just a lot going on with flowers. I'm a flower grower. I love cut flowers. There's always flowers inside, year round, outside. There's always flowers. And so I like flowers. And so most of my things are flowers. So I had one lantana that I'd planted. And I love summer. Lantanas in summer just are so great because they love the heat. You can't kill them. I mean, hummingbirds and butterflies love them. They got everything going on for them. And so I had this one, I should know better. I had one lantana. It was kind of in this beautiful copper pot. The container is a piece of art. And it just wasn't filling in. Wasn't growing fast enough. And Lisa looks at me. Lisa goes, "Why don't you just go get two more and put them in there and make it full now?" And I went, "Yeah, why don't I do that? Why? I own a garden center for goodness sakes. I have a radio show. What am I doing? Why don't I just take two more? Why don't I spend $20 and just have it over the top, extra, like right now finish?" And the best advice Lisa's given me or questioned me to do. So I fill it in, and this week I can't see the soil. I'm giving you permission. If you've been waiting, you can still see the soil in your containers, your raised beds, and they haven't filled in the way you wanted. You know what? Maybe it's time to spend $5 and get another Penta or a zinnia or a passion vine and just fill in. By this point, the containers should look full and mature. They should not be still filling out. So I'm giving you permission to buy a couple more plants. You still got them at the garden center. It's the summer mix. So we still have a few geraniums. We get marigolds all the time. But now we also have some of the newer heat-loving things like the Lantanas, the Pentas, the Mandalas. These things love the heat. And so go ahead and fill them off. You should not be in the backyard going, I wonder when those are finally going to fill in. Well, I can tell you, they're finally going to fill in like right before frost. It'll be October, and our frost comes at the, oops, sorry about that. I got an alarm going off. Hopefully you didn't hear that over the airwaves. This is live radio. Here we go. So anyway, so it's permission. Go ahead and fill in, get a few extra plants. It'll be a game changer, and you will be delighted that you did it because you'll be looking back on, God, that goofy guy on the radio, I like what he said. And God, I feel so much better about my gardens. And you will have more butterflies and hummingbirds and all that other stuff that comes with flowers. I would say the same thing with your herb gardens. Your herbs should be full and glorious. If you're having trouble with some animals, herbs help repel other rabbits and that kind of stuff that hide the scent. So just kind of some things. It's still garden season. Don't wait for things to finally start happening. They should be actively growing in full right now. And so go ahead and fill them in. You're watering things. You folks that have had some monsoon rains, don't throttle back on the irrigation yet. Keep the water going until we get enough rain to hydrate all the ground, and then I'll start scaling back. Right now I'm watering my containers once a day in the morning. My trees and shrubs once a week in the morning. My blooming things out in the yard about, I don't know, every 2 to 3 days. I think every 3 days in the morning. And so I'm holding off on that. I'm going to let the nature resaturate my soil, and then I'll dial back the irrigation too. And I'll just try to go one extra day between irrigation cycles. Anyway, we've got a lot in store. I'll go more into that, but we've got a lot in store this week on the Mountain Garden. We got Lisa Watersling coming in with your garden questions right after this.
Wondering why the grass is always greener on the other side? Well, it's probably because your neighbor used the all-purpose fertilizer from Water's Garden Center. Monsoon is right around the corner, and it's the perfect time to feed your plants. Water's all-purpose fertilizer is the only organic made especially for Arizona mountain soils. Don't buy a bunch of different fertilizer for your flowers, veggies, trees, or grass. This one does it all. The plants on your side will be happier, healthier, well, greener. Safe, natural, organic. Water's Garden Center in Prescott.
You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Water's Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Water's Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.